High school football in St. Johns County has hit the midway point of the season. We're starting week 6 tonight, and that means we're talking about what's going on in the first half and what we expect to see in the second half. I'm Justin Varney, and I've got record sports writer Stuart Corfidge and Danny Klein with me this week. We're going to talk about games these guys have seen and kind of players that stand out. So, first off, I mean, the best team in St. Johns County, I don't think there's any question about that, Stuart, do you?
Well, the Jackets 5-0 again. They're 5-0 every year. What, 11 years in a row now?
Yeah, 11 years in a row.
No surprise there.
Yeah, no surprise. And Danny, who would you think is right behind St. Augustine's in terms of where they need to be and really who could challenge St. Augustine?
Yeah, I think that one is obvious too. It's Bartram Trail. You know, you could just tell by the game they played. And for 3 quarters, Bartram was actually leading 10-0. And aside from that, they've played Menendez. They've won easily. And you know, right now, I think they're the team to beat. As we switch gears from a team perspective to talking about an individual, I don't think there's any really dissent among any of us or maybe anybody in the county as to who the best player has been through 5 games in the season. Stuart, you've seen him the most. Talk about Tony Stewart from Menendez.
Yeah, Tony Stewart, he's the guy. You know, we've been talking about him all summer. ESPN rated him, what, 1 or 2 in the country prospects, and he's actually lived up to that hype. I mean, he's been really amazing on defense, forcing turnovers. He's been amazing on special teams. He has, what, 3 kickoff returns for touchdowns so far. And on the offensive side, he's been good there too, catching passes for touchdown. Threw a touchdown pass last week, running for touchdowns. He is just a one-man wrecking crew.
Yeah, he's been recruited as a linebacker. Rivals has him number 2 in the nation. He's top 10 in every other poll as a linebacker. But this guy is having more success on offense this season in special teams than he's really had on defense, and that really shows his versatility and what he's able to do. Maybe behind Tony Stewart, Danny, who do you think are a couple other players that have had just impressive starts to the season?
Yeah, going back to Bartram, I think Nathan Peterman was the guy that everyone was looking at coming into the year, and he's got 12 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, which is a huge difference from last year. And also Jared Crump, a receiver, you know, has made some great catches. He's got a touchdown in every game, 7 overall. I think he's the guy behind him right now.
Yeah, Crump averaging a touchdown every 2.5 receptions this season. That's pretty impressive. Marquise Merrill from St. Augustine's another guy to kind of watch out for. He's had a good season, not as active. He's missed a game with injury and was shut down basically his first game of the season. But he came up big in that Week 2 win over Bartram Trail, had 250 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. So he's another guy with that big play capability. Taking a turn into what we're going to expect to see in the second half of the season, I think the St. Augustine Menendez district is pretty locked in. I don't think St. Augustine has a chance in the world of giving that district away. Menendez probably going to come in the runner-up there. But as we switch over to 3-3A, very loaded district there. Get you guys' thoughts on that, the Bartram Trail, Clay, and the Nice district.
I think it's going to be hard for anyone to wrest a playoff position away from Bartram and Clay. I think they were the 2 best teams last year, and it looks like they're both really good again this year. The other teams, you know, they've had their moments, but they haven't really shown me the consistency that Bartram and Clay have.
That's right. Nice shut out last week by Trinity Christian for the first time in 8 years. That was a pretty impressive streak by Nice that they had going. Nice has just not shown that consistency this year. Bartram Trail has. Still haven't seen that consistency from Clay, but Bartram seems to be the team to beat in that district, and Clay probably kind of a close 1B right there. And as we switch over to Danny and talk about some of the teams we've not hit on yet, Creekside, St. Joseph, what do you think about those 2 schools?
You know, I think Creekside and St. Joe are kind of going through the same thing right now, where you just look at, you know, big senior classes and a lot of turnover. And you know, in Creekside's case, you know, anytime you're a 3-year program and you have, you know, 30-so seniors leaving, you know, you're going to have ups and downs. You got a sophomore quarterback, a sophomore running back. You know, I think, you know, the kind of success that they're having right now, running the ball, is probably to be expected of what they can accomplish this year. You know, in St. Joe, new coach, new system, new offense, new players. So, you know, I think they're probably also expected to have some bumps along the way. But by the time the season is done, I think they'll, you know, have figured it out.
And as we kind of make our move from mid-season to talking about the Week 6 games, a few district games tonight that we need to keep you aware of. Ponte Vedra goes to Clay. Should be a good one for a rapidly improved Ponte Vedra. They've got 3 wins. They've had 2 in every other season that they've had. So Ponte Vedra already exceeded its win total from both its previous seasons. Menendez going to St. Augustine, big district game for those 2 teams. That series has never been close, but maybe Tony Stewart gives Menendez a little bit of an edge this season that they've not had before. Could be all Jackets. We'll see about that one. Nice and Bartram Trail. Nice struggled a little bit defensively, but you just never can tell in this series. Close last year, been close in the past. So Neeson Bartram Trail in another district game there. St. Joseph going down to Bell, and Stanton going over to Creekside. And that wraps up our mid-season review and our Week 6 preview. We'll talk to you again next week. I'd like to thank Stuart and Danny for coming on.